Did you hear George say? Okay, you're good? All right, we're going to start the meeting. Good evening, everyone. This is the Thursday, February 8th, 2024 Town of Monroe Planning Board meeting. Noreen, would you please do the roll call attendance?
Bonnie Franson,
Here?
Jeff Manson,
Here.
Pat Shea is out, Nick, Nick Napoli's out, Dylan Penn,
Here.
Lou Rivera, Robert Garstack.
Here.
They will be filling in for Pat and Nicholas.
With that, I'd like to point out the fire exits. There are two in front of me behind the audience. One, the main entrance coming in, and the other is out to the patio to my right. Could we all please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag. I'd like to recognize Mary, if you want to come up. This is our councilwoman. I think any, as long as they're on.
But I got it. Okay. Councilwoman Mary Bingham, just here to observe, I was appointed
He's
liaison.
talking, hold on.
George said get closer to the mic.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Hi, Councilwoman Mary Bingham, just here to say, I'm here to observe. I'm not going to really have any comments tonight, but I have been appointed liaison from the town to the planning board. So if you do have any concerns or suggestions, I know one of your members is very much in favor of solar farms and solar generation of electricity. So if you have any suggestions as to what the town board could do to improve the zoning code to adapt to the changing climate, please let us know. And if you have any other concerns, also let us know. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Oh, okay.
It's the man from Oz. All right. So with that, we will start with 94 Seven Springs Road, returning project. Hello. If you just state your name for the record and... Is it pushed toward you? Yeah, there you go.
Hi, my name is Shlomi Gil from Hartman Design. I'm here for 94 Seven Springs. Just a recap of the project. This is a we proposing a two-family in on 94 Seven Springs with the overlay district, which allows a two-family. When it's in the sewer district with a septic. By the last meeting, we had a couple of comments to address, and we have addressed all of them, except the last minute short EF was not updated and not resend it. We're going to have to resend that. Basically, we updated the bulk table. We sent in the tree plan. We have submitted the elevations and the floor plans with the square footage. And I'm here to hear if any additional comments or concerns to address.
Our engineer.
So, revised plan. That's some revised plans. Better? So we got revised site plan together with some architectural floor plans and elevations. My biggest concern with the revised architecturals is that the number of bedrooms didn't seem to match the site plan. And why that's important is the number of bedrooms is the basis for the design of the sanitary system. So the site plan identifies 4 bedrooms per side, and that's what this current septic system is designed for, is 8 total bedrooms. Based on reviewing the architecturals, it looks like there's 6 bedrooms per side. That's going to trigger a larger septic system, as well as actually throw it into the need for a speedies permit through the New York State DEC, because it will discharge over 1,000 gallons per day. So either the floor plans will have to change, or the sanitary system will have to be adjusted to meet the increased demand.
As I see in the floor plans, is 4 bedrooms. You have some more rooms, not bedrooms. We have a library.
There was a nursery, which I think it should be classified as a bedroom, as well as a guest room, which I think it was.
There were 2 guest rooms on one
It's
side.
a guest suite. It's 2 rooms together, like a kitchenette and then a bedroom.
There's a kitchenette as well.
No, it's not. It's just like a sitting area, with the bedroom by the left side. And then we have additional 3 bedrooms. So the nursery is concerning. Okay. So the nursery is basically just a station for the small kid. So we can open it up with the master together. So it's not a separate bedroom, just a place for a newborn.
Which
On
of
the
the
left unit.
sheets are you looking at?
Sheet
A104.
A104.
Okay,
left
just so I can
unit.
bring it on here. Okay, so we're talking about the left.
Yes, so the left is 1 bedroom. Then we have 2 additional bedrooms and the master and the nursery.
All right, so what I see here on the left side is the master bedroom. So you have this big suite here, right? Then you have a bedroom, and you have another bedroom. So that's 3, correct?
Yes.
This
Then-
this is showing as a guest room, that's showing as a guest room. And this one has a kitchenette with a bathroom. It looks like this goes up. And then you have this guest room and this guest room maybe sharing this. It's a little hard to tell. Actually,
So-
because this has a door, but this doesn't have a door, so maybe this is all one guest unit.
Yeah, so it's basically, as you can see on the lower floor, it's above the garage. So it's like in the mid-level. From the mud entry, you have a half a flight up to the guest suite.
So I think when it comes to something that's considered a bedroom or not a bedroom, typically, if we're going to see any kind of closets in there, usually we call them bedrooms.
Correct.
So the library right now, even though it says library, because you put the closet in there, it's reading like a bedroom. Same thing with the nursery, right? There's kind of like a
Correct.
walk-in closet there.
Right.
I don't know if it's a walk-in, but it's a closet.
Okay,
That's, I think Board of Health looks at it that way too.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think that's a building code
A
issue.
building code too,
right,
yeah.
Yeah, so, but you bring up a good point. I didn't catch the kitchenette before, and I'm wondering if that would be classified as an additional unit
Or at like an accessory unit,
or an accessory unit, right?
because you have a kitchenette, and you have the full bathroom, and then the guest room. So it's operating as like a little separate unit within the home, almost like an accessory dwelling unit.
So the kitchen, it's not a kitchen, it's basically a kosher sink outside. So it's basically a sitting area and a roof, and we can remove the door between these areas. It's just like a wall to separate for sitting area and for sleeping for guests. So we can open up the entire guest room as one big room. It's part of the unit, not additional kitchenette. We can put just a sink. It's not for a kitchenette, just for a kosher
Just
sink.
a
Okay. And by the other rooms,
This is a dumb question, or it's an uninformed question. In a bathroom where you have a sink, can that be a kosher sink or no? It has to be a separate sink?
for some purposes, you have to have a separate sink outside.
Okay,
So usually you have in the laundry a separate sink, you have other places a separate sink.
okay.
So in this guest unit, it's not a unit just for family guests, like a couple comes in, so it's a part of the family. So and we're gonna revise the library also to remove the closet, and because it's really for 4 bedrooms.
So again, I think for it to be 4 bedrooms, you probably, from a building code perspective, might have to remove closets possibly. The guest room, I think you have to rearrange a little bit so that it looks more like a guest room and not like a separate
Unit.
dwelling unit. So let's, and the nursery, again, that's reading a little like a separate bedroom as well. So, you know,
So I'm
think,
gonna develop this together with the master.
if you put that all together with the master and not have those, so if you don't, for instance, have those 2 closets there and you just make one larger bathroom, then it's reading more like, you know, the number of
Like a
bedrooms
part of the
you've
master
indicated,
suite.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, we can certainly work with you on that. This is the right-hand side?
The nursery is with the left-hand side, and the library is with the right-hand side.
Oh, sorry, I was going to the second unit, the right-hand unit. So, Sean, on this one, what were you seeing?
The library again, which has a closet.
The library has a closet, so, okay, let's look, we have 1, 2, below, 3, 4. So library potentially, again, if you remove, I think you have to remove closets for it to not be considered a bedroom. And that's a building code,
Correct.
I think, requirement.
Is it closet or closet doors?
The closet and doors. So I was including the doors when I reference a closet, yeah.
No, I mean the.
Oh, this door here? That I don't know. I think they might be considered other spaces. I know for sure the closet, I'm not sure about the doors. I think that'd be a Ben question,
Yes, we want to probably confirm that as well.
yeah. How,
What was that?
I seem to remember on a previous project, now it was years ago, that there was an issue about if it had closets and a door to close off the space, it could be considered a bedroom. So if you just merely remove the closet, is that sufficient? Or like in a den, you wouldn't necessarily, it would just be an opening into the space, not, once you have a door that you can close off the space and a closet, it can function as a bedroom. And really either of those sort of potentially allow for that. I forget.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Ben.
Okay.
so in terms of the elevations, it's probably a scaled map. Were you able to see what the height is of the building? Or,
I didn't, and actually I asked for additional clarification on the types of, for the facade, colors and types of siding to be.
I'll get back to your memo here.
So together with the septic, the well, the applicant provided a well testing report by the well driller, and he stated that he was comfortable with the enough water for an 8-bedroom house. Obviously, that'll have to be revised should additional bedrooms be sought, but I asked that a professional engineer stamp that certification saying that he feels that there's sufficient water, rather than just the well driller.
Oh.
He claims that, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, no, sorry.
He claims that he cannot sign this. My engineer, Brian, he claims that it's not, that he should sign that because he
Understood,
didn't
but
do any.
he should prepare a letter that he can sign certifying that there is sufficient water in the existing well.
Just a letter that is sufficient, but he cannot he cannot sign on that because he didn't do any testing.
So he should perform whatever testing is required for him to sign the letter.
Who did the testing?
Northern Drilling.
So I have Northern Drilling Inc., and this is the to whom this may concern. Performed 4-hour pump test of 15 gallons per minute. There's sufficient water for an 8-bedroom house, sincerely, and he signed it. What are you looking for that's different?
Someone with a light.
Oh, okay. Is that normal to have a license
Well, I want somebody that,
on the line? Okay.
Okay, I will again reach out to him. He claims that it's not standard that he should sign off on a well.
He kind of did. I guess it's more his qualifications. It's not the fact that he signed it. It's that, does he have any kind of certification, like an engineer,
any license.
any licenses or anything?
The engineer,
The driller, is he like certified? I mean, just a license.
I have to check. Maybe I can have a
He may have it.
hydrologist
He may have
to
something.
to sign.
Sorry?
If I have a hydrologist to sign off.
If they want to sign it, sure. Yep, that'd be okay if they're licensed
Hydrogeologist? A
hydrologist.
licensed hydrogeologist, yes. That would be fine.
Okay.
I just want to go back to the Speedies permit real quick.
Sure.
So, I mean, in the event you did want more bedrooms, what is the process and how rigorous is it to get a Speedies permit? What's the Speedies permit for the 1,000 gallons? Oh, so it's the discharge into
of
the
it,
septic?
Correct. The septic handling more than 1,000 gallons per day.
So they have to go to DEC.
Correct.
Is it hard permit to get?
It's not a rigorous, but it will require the
A
permit
DEC.
to, correct, yep.
Okay,
And there may be a need to go to Orange County Department of Health in order to get that as well.
okay. So it's not that you can't put more bedrooms in, it just might require a couple more permits. So, for you, I don't know what the timing is for this, but just to keep in mind, we're not saying that you can't put more in, it just requires more permits.
Understand? So I will tell for the client that if he wants more
If he
bedrooms,
wants more, yeah.
he can go through the process.
Right.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, okay. Back to the memo.
Order in 7. 8, you can disregard about the EAF because the board previously typed it a type 2, so there's no need for an
No
EAF.
need, okay.
Yep. So the applicant prepared a tree preservation plan. I think there's a lot of information there, and just to be clear, the zoning code only regulates trees that are 6 inches in diameter and larger. So I don't know if there's a need to include all the shrubs that were included, the bushes. And you should identify which ones will be cleared as part of the preservation plan.
I think he provided how much is going to be removed.
It wasn't clear to me in the list if those were all proposed to be removed or if those were proposed, if they were just existed on the site.
So typically what we see when people are doing the tree plan is when we're looking at all the little symbols for the trees, any of the trees that are going to be removed typically have an X on them. And then way it's very clear for us which trees are being removed, which trees are staying. So it's kind of our way of really looking at, are you clearing trees that need to be cleared for what you're proposing, or is it excessive trees.
Okay, he had just a table, a list of numbers
Right.
And you also want to be clear because there's a fee for the trees, for taking them down. And I know we discussed with someone that you want to, you obviously want to try and preserve as many as possible so you're not paying a big fee. So just be very clear what you are and what you're not taking it down.
So we have reviewed with him, basically he just removed all where he have to make changes to the grade
Correct.
and for the purpose of construction.
Right.
But I will ask him to mark on the trees itself.
Ones are to remain and which ones are to
Okay.
be cleared. Yep. So sheet 4 identifies improvements that are not shown on sheet clarity on what's proposed, what's existing, and what's to be removed. And then procedurally, the board previously recognized that 239 referral is not required, it's exempt. The board previously typed it a type 2 under secra. Last time the board had authorized the public hearing to be scheduled. However, I think this septic bedroom issue should be clarified before that's, continues to the public hearing, so.
So you'll let us know sooner than later whether you want the additional bedrooms, just so we know, and we can process it properly. So that's really, I think, in your hands from that perspective. Ashley, did you have any comments also?
Just a few additional. There was the entity disclosure form. It wasn't fully completed. That's section B where it asks to list the officers. If you could fill that out and then resubmit. Regarding the septic, since this is in the two-family overlay, it does require a certification from the engineer that's then verified by the town engineer about the soil testing and showing that there'll be no danger to public health or personal property and that there's adequate distance between the septic and all wells. So I think that's something that needs to be submitted and then verified by Sean. The two-family overlay also limits the driveway width to a maximum of 24 feet at any point within the front yard. Just want to confirm that that's not exceeded anywhere in the front yard. Also, section of woodland character, which goes to the tree preservation, and you're supposed to limit the removal of any natural vegetation for the first 50% of the required front yard. And the planning board may require reasonable assurances, including landscape plan, conservation easement, or other assurances as necessary to maintain the woodland character. So I think once you have the tree plan and see what's being removed, you could evaluate whether that provision is met. With the tree plan also, it wasn't clear that you were proposing to add any trees, so the chair had mentioned the tree fee. If you're not doing a one-to-one replacement, then there is a fee for each tree that's going to be removed and not replaced. Also some standard tree plan map notes that I could send to you so that you could put those on the plan as well.
Okay. All these comments, I think it's not a big deal. What we can revise it. So I want to make sure I want to be voted by the next meeting for a public hearing.
So, well, let me ask the board members if they have any questions or comments. Lou, did you have anything you want to raise or? No comment. Okay. Jeff?
Nope.
Bob? Dylan?
Yeah, I think I'm aligned with, I think we should settle the bathroom and sewage prior to discussing opening public comment to the public.
Okay. Do you think we should see one more iteration of the map before we open a public hearing?
Unless Sean comes back saying the response is good to our concerns on the bedrooms.
I mean, if you guys wanted to authorize the public hearing subject to receipt of the new plans, that they're acceptable septic-wise and bedroom-wise, I'd be okay with that.
I think that'd be specific to the 4-bedroom, obviously.
Okay.
So I am generally okay with that if we get the information. because ultimately, if they decide you want more bedrooms, they will have to pursue the permits. We either condition it on getting those permits, because this isn't a seeker situation, or, we just leave the public hearing open, until there's a little more information from the, DEC or Board of Health that it looks like it'll work. So, but Ashley, do you have any issues with opening the public hearing subject to?
No, I think you could schedule it subject to receipt of that information. And I don't know if you also want it subject to receipt of the additional architectural information, so the
At the same time,
narrative of materials, colors.
just to make sure you get us also the specifics on the colors, the materials, which is normally what we look at for architectural. And then
Okay.
if they could include the top height of the building so we can see the total height to make sure you're, meeting code.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, thank you.
So we'll do it subject to, do I need to do a resolution to that effect? Okay, so, a motion. So I'll motion that we hold the public hearing at our next March meeting. Date to be determined. I don't know if we'll have the 19th, because sometimes we've been changing it if we only have the.
Regular
Yeah.
meeting,
Yeah,
that would be the night.
March 19th.
okay. Okay. Subject to submitting the architectural information and the septic and well information. May I have a second?
Second.
Noreen? Yeah.
Yes.
Rivera,
Aye.
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 Bob Garstaff,
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is Meadow Hill on Lakes Road, Monroe. Hello, Ryan.
Good evening, everyone. Brian Smith, I'm here in William Marshall, engineer of the applicant.
He's just setting up right now. We'll have him put his name on the record when he's sitting. Did they send the plans digital? Was there a link for the plans? Because I downloaded 4 things, but I didn't have the plan itself. Or was there no new plan?
I believe that there was a link. There should have been a link.
A
for the
link to
plans.
it? Did
Yeah.
you send it yourself?
Yes, I believe so. If I remember correctly. It was a couple weeks ago. Lucky I remember this morning. Yeah.
whatever they send is what I,
It was, but I think, because I originally didn't have everything either, and I think there might have been also a Dropbox link, and then also things attached to the email.
Yes.
So,
Because I definitely have a whole bunch of attachments.
yeah. I had
Then
the
I
same, and
realize I have the cover letter. It's below. I deleted it. All the attachments. Do you think it was down?
Should be a link. There you go, right there. So for the record, I wasn't on the mic before, but Ryan Smitham with McCura Norton Trolley Marshall, engineer for the applicant. So we had previously submitted a plan that was consistent with the plan that was before this board under a different applicant previously. And after receiving comments last time, we realized that some of the zoning from that original plan was incorrect. So the plan that you're seeing now has been corrected for the cluster regulations. So the lot widths were increased to meet the actual town zoning, and the minimum lot areas were also decreased so that they met the cluster regulations. So they kind of spread out the subdivision a little bit more, but and kind of condensed the conservation areas into 3 main areas on the southwesterly end of the site, the center of the site, and the easterly side of the site. At the request of the applicant, and due to the proximity to the road, he desired that we kind of push everything back from the dwelling in the backyard, as that's going to be the more usable area for the residents when they're living in these homes. Being out in the front yard, it's a very busy road, so we'd like to open up the backs slightly more, so the sewage disposal system's been pushed a little bit further back in the lots, and as have the dwellings, just to on lots 1 and 2 at the board's request, just to accommodate everyone's desires. We've started updating the soils testing on the lot, but wanted to get some board feedback on the new layout before we continued with the health department and other agencies before proceeding.
All right, I'll start with Sean.
So, as a reminder, it's a 6-lot subdivision, slightly revised from the last time you saw it. I will note that the bulk table shows the cluster subdivision lot area, which is half what's required in the RR1 zone. So it goes from conventional of 1 acre down to a ½ acre. The rest of the dimensions are the same. The board has the ability to reduce those if they so desire, but the bulk table is currently showing the rest of those dimensions as required in the obviously, as we all know, the driveways will connect to Lakes Road, which is a county road, so we will need authorization and review and acceptance by Orange County DPW on those driveway locations and improvements. If the board so desires, the DPW has asked that the board make the referral rather than the applicant approach the county. That's kind of each form that has to be filled out. Okay with the layout this evening, tomorrow or early next week. Scenic road, so it's regulated under the zoning. Last time I had a couple comments. I think the applicants addressed those mostly. I just had a couple more. We want to get some acceptance or acknowledgement from O&R that they're okay with bringing the utilities in or close to the driveways so that there's not additional disturbance to the buffer along the roadway. The applicants noted that they are working with O&R to that effect. There is going to be some required tree clearing for site distance for proposed lots 1 and 2. Obviously, that may change based on the county's review, but it has been noted on the plans, I think on sheet 2. And I just ask that whoever is going to be responsible for that clearing, that should be noted on the plans as well, especially on the plat to be filed. And just one more thing which could affect the overall layout of the lots is the wetlands delineation was performed in March of 2019, so that's about to become stale. So just asking the applicant to update that delineation. The applicant did receive a letter from SHPO. Actually, the previous engineer received a letter from SHPO that there would be no impact based on the layout. Maybe that should be updated based on the revised layout, but,
I thought that's generally site-wide.
okay.
But I can look into it.
The applicant has also noted that since the taker, they will be preparing a SWIP for the application. They note they're working on that. The final plat will have to be signed and sealed by a surveyor. What else? Oh, the conservation easement. So there is a delineation procedure and markers to be used. I can forward you that policy
That would
that
be
the
great.
board has. And tree preservation, a tree preservation plan has to be prepared for the application for any clearing that's proposed. So that's Article X.
Yes.
A seeker with act.
Yeah, I'd like to revisit, because this has been going on for a while now, and so we did get some responses from agencies previously, but I guess we'll need them again if anything changed. So, all right, Ashley, your comments?
So at the last meeting, I think it was discussed that there's now a new owner, so they did submit a new entity disclosure form, but it was missing the signature page, so if you could make sure to resubmit that, and also the other application forms need to be signed by the new owner as well. There's a site visit consent, there's just other forms to resubmit. I think I might have touched on this, but there needs to be a permit for the improvements in the local wetland buffer. In the bulk table, the minimum side yard is 65, for this total side yard is 65 feet. The table says 60. So all the lots look to comply, but if you could just update the table accordingly. As far as seeker, you did previously assume your intent to be lead agency. You have a revised EAF for the new plan. You do need some more information, the SWIP, well tests, soil tests, species, those kind of things before you can move forward with preparing a part 2.
Did we have our consultants go out and look at this site already? I thought that we had asked them to. I seem to remember this. Yeah. We'll have to revisit that, and if they haven't, to get out to the site for the habitat and
don't think-
wetland. Because I remember that the Conservation Commission wanted to join Ward, remember? And so it was going to be like a group. Yeah.
I think that should revisit it again. Be required
Okay.
for the wetlands, so.
Yeah, I just remember that we had tried to coordinate it, but this whole thing started, I think, back before COVID. So,
2019.
yeah, so some of this just may have fallen off the map, or maybe it did happen, don't remember, because I'm seeing here I have a wetland report.
Tompkins, a field review of the wetland delineation in 2020,
Okay,
and he was there with Ward.
okay. I also remember, because there was a comment or a concern that there had been trees cut on this property, and so Ward
During the
wanted
site
us-
walk, they did observe some tree cutting and clearing in the northernmost wetland along Lakes Road. It appears to be an attempt by the neighboring property to allow additional sunlight for their garden, but does not represent an unpermitted wetland impact. So I think it was a neighboring property.
We'll revisit.
Absolutely.
Note number 8 on the plan, if you could revise that to say no further subdivision of cluster lots shall be permitted. It currently says no further, that the lots can't be further subdivided without planning board approval, but the cluster regulations require it to say that clustered lots can't be further subdivided.
Absolutely.
If you could also add a table with the square footage and the bedroom numbers for each of the dwelling. I saw the bedroom count on, or the dwellings are labeled the number of bedrooms on one of the sheets, but if you could have a table with that and also the square footage, because that's needed for the house relocation
Is that the
requirements.
footprint square footage, or is that the living area?
I believe,
sorry to mess up your role there. We can revisit that.
It's whatever is referenced in the house relocation
Okay.
note, so,
I'll double check.
because that limits the amount that you could shift things. And talked about the tree plan. I did see you added the tree preservation note and the tree plan note. The tree preservation note is only going to be on the actual tree plan itself, and all other pages will contain the note that refers to the tree plan note.
Got it.
And I think
So there was a SHPO response from 2019, and I was trying to find the actual SHPO cultural resource report. So if you could, do you have that? Do you recall getting that? I don't recall it, so if you could have them send it to us?
Yeah, I'll look through our files that we received on the project and see
Okay.
if we can send it over.
So, and then, so we did have a comment letter back in 2020 from Orange County DPW. So hopefully you have this in your files, because some of it probably is required to be shown regardless, you know, in terms of culverts and providing spot elevations, et cetera. So do you probably have this, right?
I'm not sure, but I can double check and see.
Okay, if you don't, let us know, because it's in our files. And then we did, at some point, transmit, was this GML?
their response to the lead agency
Agency
notice.
request?
So it does need GML, but I think that was just their, oh, actually, no, the sketch plan was referred. And they replied at that point, saying they'll need a full statement once.
So, again, be aware, 2019, Megan Tennerman had put together county recommendation, none at this time, so we'll still have to probably circulate again, right? And then I definitely want to see and make sure that our ecologists go out, you know, one more time. And
Madam Chairman, I do have some comments. So in looking at this map, there are two concerns that I have. Number one, you're pretty much smack in the middle of a wetland. You're surrounded by water, right? So that's the first. So I'm kind of concerned with that these wetlands may at one point come out and go back and forth. These lines are not clear. I think they're too close to lot 1 and 2. That's number one. Number two, they may experience a lot of flooding. It seems like they just put two houses, two lots, smack in the middle of a water situation.
Specifically lots 1 and 2.
Specifically lots 1 and 2. I just,
So there's
I'm not feeling warm and fuzzy with 1 and 2. No.
Understood. There's a fairly large elevation change on lots 1 and 2, and in the center of the lots where the houses and the improvements are going to be located are vertically much higher than those wetlands. So unless we have Noah's Ark, it's never going to get up to that level. And I can show you.
What type of elevation are we talking about?
So there's approximately 10 feet of elevation change to the lowest portion of lot 1, and with the grading associated with lot 2, it will be 4 feet.
What about going towards the road? Like, are they going to be flooded, the roads leading to Lakes Road?
The driveways you're saying?
Driveways.
No, once again, they're at a high point. This is, if you can think of this as a nose sticking out like this, they're on that nose. So everything falls away from all of these.
I'd have to see it personally.
Absolutely.
I'm more of a visual person, but I don't feel warm and fuzzy with that at all. No.
so let me see if I can bring up, which sheet is the topo on? This one here, right?
Yeah, 3 and 4, I believe, are the detail views of each of the, that works as well.
What is? Seven, that's reading 760 by the garage, and then it extends across to, that'd be 708 here. Seven ten.
Yes.
Wetland is
I think if you go out on the site, you'll see it's definitely, there's a definite change between the wetland areas and these upland areas, but I understand the concern.
I'm going to go that way.
That'll be on the next sheet. Mhm. So that has some grading on the low side of Lot 6 to lift that area up, once again, to avoid that wetland impact. If you actually go out and look at the wetlands too, it's not like it's a pond or anything like that. It's just where the flow from the roadside has kind of been stalled by uneven ground, and it's just kind of boggy on that side. And then when you come up out of that, it's absolutely. As you come up out of that wetland towards where the house and sewer are going to be, there's a definite change in the ground type. It's very brushy back there. I was there earlier today. But I think you'll feel better about it if you were to see it.
Sorry. This is 30, that one.
I believe so, yes.
Curious how far questions. So that's about 70, 76? So 77. And the concern is how close this dwelling is to the limits of the wetland? So that
Correct.
would be, so we take the edge of this just to here. That's about 31. So, you know, this is a cluster subdivision, and I think so long as, you know, I'm sure you want to maintain your septic areas. I don't know if you've tested them already or not.
I did some testing today, actually.
Okay. So there's some test pits up here. Were they relocated?
Those test pits were from the previous engineers, and yes, the applicant had asked if we could try to push the septics a little further back in the lots. That way that the backyards were a little bit more usable for the owners because the front yards aren't going to be extremely desirable due to the traffic along Lakes Road. So that's the intention. There's going to be some more revisions to the septic areas as the soils testing and reviews by Orange County continue. With regard to moving the houses closer together, is there a minimum setback that the board can adjust so that we could potentially move those closer together as far as the side yards?
So I think we can vary the side yards. If you look, okay. So I think we can vary them. I believe for certain zoning districts, we can only go to a particular minimum lot size, but I think,
You could read minimum lot area by 50%. And the minimum yard requirements shall be established by the planning board during cluster review. So
Yeah.
there's no restriction
right.
on the yards.
I mean, I think in general, we can be a little bit also creative with even lot lines. I think in the best of all worlds, we would have some room around the houses that's usable so they're not, butting up to a wetland if possible. Because the other thing that invites, frankly, is homeowners will go in and fill them. So that just happens. So, we try and avoid that. So if we can somehow, those two and the one next to it, they got 75 feet. Not that we want super small, yards. The other thing is, again, with lot 6, I don't know what distance you have to maintain, but maybe you could, instead of having them all in a single row, I don't know if this one can be pushed back a little bit, and then you're opening it up, where it becomes wider in here.
Absolutely.
So I think the idea would be just to give each of them a little bit more space, based on Lou's comments.
The side yard, the minimum side yard is
yards,
currently
right?
shown
To
at
get
30
them
feet.
pushed up farther away from wetlands.
Correct.
Okay.
The minimum side yard for one is currently shown at 30 feet. Is there a number that the board would be comfortable with reducing it to for a revised?
Side
layout?
yard to side yard?
So currently it's 30 for each, right? So from that common property line, there's that dashed purple line that we have there. If you zoom in, and those are 30 feet from those common property lines. So would the board be comfortable with 15 feet, perhaps, or?
Well, I'm even thinking that if you, sorry.
I feel like Adobe has gotten more cumbersome lately.
So in looking at this, literally if these were slid over, and this lot line perhaps could be shifted a little bit, you could push this one over. Plus you could just, first of all, you could shift the houses over, and then you could also just make this a smaller yard on that particular lot. So in doing so, this guy isn't, you're still maintaining about the same, let's say, distance, because you've shifted him over a little bit. Hold another maybe, 15 feet at least, 20 feet from the wetland, if possible.
So if my memory serves from Ms. Torrey's comments previously, the lot width is not able to be adjusted, though?
Lot width can't,
It's
the,
not.
We
it's the
can't?
minimum yards.
Oh, okay.
So I can pull all the, so lots 4 and 5, I can pull those closer to their common property line to pull, and 5 and 6 as well, to pull those away from the wetlands on the outside. But the lot line variation is going to be a little tough to make those center lots work with lot width.
So this guy here, can this septic be pushed over here so that he's pushed closer to, let's say, around here, and then he's away from the wetland, And he also has more privacy because you can't disturb the wetlands, so there's going to be trees that remain there. And then by pushing him over, because this one does have a wider lot width.
Right.
Because you're encompassing, so then this lot line could be pushed, and then, you could have the effect on the other lots too, potentially. I mean, just options, and I think ultimately, it seems like the desire is to try and get these into usable lots where they're not, butting up against wetlands in general. And so to kind of look at side yards and maybe lot arrangements slightly just to, get some distance between them.
If the board's comfortable with a 15-foot minimum single side yard, and I can try to balance that with the applicant's desire to have the backyards more open, and try to revise, tweak this a little bit. The other thing that's going to limit us is soils testing for the sewers, but we'll do the best we can to get something that you guys are happy with.
Septics in the backyards to avoid them being that close to the wetlands?
Yes, that is the main reason that they're in the backyards. Also, the topography does help with that. Generally, the fronts of these lots are higher than the rears, so exactly.
I'm good.
Dylan?
I think I'm aligned. I wouldn't want a house to be in a concerning location, but I also want to note that it's a wetland boundary, and I would want to just put my eyes on the site to understand wetland boundary versus what is currently, like you said, runoff holding. Maybe a lot less of a concern, plus the elevation site versus seeing it in a topo. That's all.
Absolutely.
Floodplain?
No, I think it's all Zone X.
So I think we need to update some of the outreach to agencies, and you'll do some looking at the lots to see how we can balance a little more, giving them
Absolutely.
distance, especially the houses from the wetlands, and go from there. Anything you need us to address, or you want to, any questions you have?
The board's okay with the houses being potentially staggered if need be? Sometimes, you don't want one house and looking at the backyard of another house.
Not so staggered that one's way back,
Right.
Or as long as they have some privacy, sort of, but
Yes.
a little bit of staggering. Plus, the boxes aren't even what they ultimately come in with.
Right.
They propose their
Absolutely.
own design, so, I think there's some flexibility there
And
to get a bounce.
Once we get a little bit more confidence from you guys in the layout, then we'll prepare the tree plan and get an idea of what's going to be preserved and what's not.
Okay.
It's kind of a lot to go through right now.
Right.
With it being changed.
Right. And did we say that we needed a core update or not? Yes, okay.
Yes.
So that has
we'll
to
get
happen
them-
anyway.
Yeah, we're going to get them. I'll work on the redelineation.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, new project, Route 17M. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. For the record, my name is Michael Morgante. I'm the engineer for this particular application. It's before the board. Give everybody a quick overview of what's happening here. Property was sold, and the new owners are looking to essentially utilize the facility or the building as a office space. Prior to this, as I'm sure most of us know, it has been a restaurant of some sort for at least the 22 years that I've lived here, 24 years now, that is. So we're looking for a change of use from a restaurant to an office building. This has been discussed with the building inspector, and it was referred to the planning board to make sure that, it's been looked at by this board and that the board is in concurrence with what our thoughts are in terms of proposing the change of use.
Do you actually need site plan for this? Or is that a question
Well,
on,
that was one of the comments actually that Sean had brought up. We're not looking to change anything on the site, so the existing conditions plan is kind of the proposed plan, other than the fact that we're changing a use from a restaurant to an office space. The restaurant was certainly, I think, a more intensive use, at least from like a parking perspective, if I'm not mistaken. It's like one space per 45 square feet in the code, and office space is, I think, 1 per 200. So it appears we have adequate parking. The site, as it stands right now, would suit the needs of the new user and the new use. So we just kind of needed to come into the board and discuss this with you guys at the request essentially of the building department.
right, so we'll start with Sean and Ashley.
So I did have a couple questions on the site for use as the office. First of all, there are 2 lots that make up the site. So the question is the applicant looking to consolidate those lots?
No, not at this time. I don't think there's a need to. I mean, we could simply do it through the assessor, but it's been functioning in this manner for a long time, and I don't see the need to, at this time, do that.
Are they in the same ownership
Yes,
right
they
now?
are, correct, yes.
Question is because there's parking lot, so an allowed accessory to nothing.
Right, because let's say right now it might be pre-existing non-complying, but now with an office, can you have an accessory sit on its own lot? Ashley will have to weigh in on that. We'll put it on her.
Next, the bulk table identifies water and sewer as private, meaning well and septic. I didn't see those noted on the plans anywhere. And then looking to confirm that the existing sanitary is adequate to supply the office space as compared to the restaurant.
Yeah, that's actually an error on the plans. It's municipally served by water and sewer. I double-checked it on image made as well, yeah.
Who supplies the water?
That I'm going to have to get back to you on. I'm not sure. I don't
Okay.
recall if we can pull up ImageMate. You have it right now. If you click on the parcel.
Is it possible it's Harriman?
It might be.
You're at this end? Right here, right?
Yeah, it's the old Triangelina restaurant. I can't see the screen from here.
Oh, right. Oh, these two. Oh, you were looking for the property info.
I think we were looking to see who's supplying the water. So if we take a look at the tax records, it may tell us or indicate what municipality is serving the property.
Definitely in the sewer.
Yes. Yeah, one is listed as a parking lot. The other one's listed obviously as the restaurant.
So, yeah, I think, so you're, want to get some input on who's providing the water.
Correct. Because I'm
Should have
99%,
bills.
I'm 99% sure it's not the town of Monroe.
So it could be Harriman, or it could be a well? Is this an up-to-date survey?
It is. I believe that survey was done in the last few months. I can reference that on the map.
So the existing curb cuts are from 17M. Partial parking shown within the DOT's right-of-way. So the question is whether or not that parking can continue within the right-of-way and not on the lot. And together with the fact that it's with setback, which is no longer allowed by the current code.
So is this reflecting offices? It's 1 per 200 square feet of floor area?
That's correct.
So this says you need 25, and you're adding 2 ADAs, so you need 27, and you have 27.
Yeah, actually, we have 28 if you count the spaces. But that's including the 4 along 17M that are parallel to the building.
Yes?
It's a gas valve.
So in particular, these are fully in DOT right away, but these guys are all partially. Okay. And then you have the 2 ADAs already.
Take a seat. Take a seat.
Do we have a guest?
Quiet guest.
I will note that there is that elevated back parking area that perhaps could be used for parking, yeah.
Correct. It's not striped right now, so I
Right.
showed it as it is. But I mean, I think we could probably fit 9 to 10 additional spaces in there.
Right. So, I think the safest bet is to remove them from the right-of-way, and you'll need to remove them from the front yard setback anyway, so it's just a matter of striping, I believe, to get them proposed in the back.
According to the building department, it is a parking over there.
What?
It's a parking lot over there, according to the building department.
Yeah, Sean's confirming that with us. He agrees. The asphalt parking area in the back is a parking lot. We just there's no striping currently shown, so I don't show it on the existing conditions plan, but we can put together the proposed plan and add those spaces in.
Otherwise, I didn't have anything else other than to discuss seeker with Ashley.
This would be a type 2 action under seeker as reuse of a commercial structure that's a permitted use under the zoning. Under GML, it would be exempt from review under the agreement with the county as a change of use in an existing structure so long as certain conditions are met, that there's suitable access to a state or county road, that the intensity of use change doesn't significantly increase traffic demands or significantly increase the water or sewer demands from the prior use, and that new site lighting, if proposed, uses full cutoff and does not exceed IEA recommended lighting levels. Just a couple of additional comments. So the owner of the property is listed as Air LLC, according to the county records. So the LLC needs to be identified on the project forms and the entity disclosure statement. Owner's endorsement, all of that needs to be signed by someone on behalf of the LLC, and it may have been, but just indicate their title in the LLC, that the signer is a member. The electronic version of the entity disclosure form didn't have the signature line, so if you could make sure there's a complete electronic copy when you resubmit. There are 2 parcels involved, so the application form should also identify both of the parcels. As far as the parking on the adjacent lot, the code says that in all districts, required parking areas accessory to any permitted non-residential use shall be on the same lot or parcel of land with the main building or use, except when there are practical difficulties or unnecessary hardships, and in that case, the Board of Appeals can grant a permit to allow it within 500 feet. So I don't know whether that's been obtained previously, or if this is considered a pre-existing non-conforming use of that adjacent lot.
We don't take any exception to doing a lot line combination for this particular
Probably
project. We'll do it through the assessor's office, which would be just as easy. It's fine.
I prefer that because then they can't sell one off
Yeah,
if they need
I
the
was-
parking on the other, so I
Yeah,
prefer.
it's fine. There's no
Okay.
issue with us doing that.
Also, any lighting and signage that'll be for the new office, and architectural information as well, since the board has their architectural review, if you're changing the exterior of the structure at all, to submit renderings. And
Yeah, we don't have any intention of changing any lighting or any signage, I don't believe. The signage we will. Okay, so yeah, the lighting not, but the signage we will provide whatever is going to.
Any changes you're
One question, is this, due to the simple nature of the project, is this particular application exempt from a public hearing? Being,
site plan, it would be,
I mean, so then I would poll the board. I mean, it's a very, very simple project that we're proposing here. It's not, I believe we're lessening the intensity and not really changing much on the site. We'll pull some parking out of the DOT right-of-way. We're improving the situation. So if the board would consider that, we would appreciate that.
We'll take that up. I think we just want to go through if anybody has comments. Lou, any comments you have?
No, it's a type 2. It's just, I have no comment, pretty much.
Okay, so do you know what kind of office is going to go there? Do you already have a tenant, or are they just, because they're changing it from a restaurant?
Yep. So, so my understanding is that there are going to be offices that are supporting the healthcare industry. So in one situation, they will have essentially people there who assign healthcare workers to go to homes. They do billing. They do a little bit of training. There's no doctor's offices per se. It's all offices that are in support of whatever's going on in like the healthcare industry.
Will they have, so they won't have patients?
No patients are coming in. There is potentially one side of the building that will be used for, I don't know if I want to use the word physical therapy. It might be one of the better words to use, but it's going to be something of that nature where people come in and they're given some programs to work on and exercises to do. I don't think it's like a physical therapy situation like you'd find in, say, Rockland Orthopedics, but it'd be something of that nature.
Are there going to be multiple tenants in the building? Just one?
Just one tenant, yeah.
But that one may offer physical therapy?
There would be a section of the building that would be a part of it. There would be essentially, like I said, a lot of administrative office billing, coordination kind of stuff. There'd be another part that is like training for paraprofessionals, so like home health care nurses. And then the other part would be potentially for like some type of physical therapy.
That if it's that kind of use, do you need any additional ADA, or should parking spaces be any particular location relative to where you might offer that therapy?
Interestingly enough, I just saw a preliminary floor plan the other day. It seems as though where the entrance is for the physical therapy is actually pretty close or right next to where the ADA spaces are. So that's a good point. I didn't see that there was any additional parking or anything that would be required for that use. But that's a good comment, and that's what I noticed.
Yeah, because I don't know if the orthopedics by the Dunkin' Donuts have more spaces or not. It's just, again, if it's a therapy thing and people have injuries, whatever, might be easier to have a few more dedicated spaces. What is the back building? Was there an apartment back in here once upon a time? I have it on the screen. I actually never went to this restaurant.
I honestly
I can't
couldn't-
believe all these years.
Well, you'll never go to it now.
Well, I think the restaurant guy went to Warwick, so I still may be able to sample his food.
Not going to be Lipa's Donuts or something?
Yeah. Turn on your mic.
I think there was an office space for the restaurant.
This is just office back there?
Yeah, but
Okay.
they didn't intend to use it as of now because there's a lot of work they need to do over there, so.
Well, I'm trying to figure out, related to changes, how do you get there? Because there's no stairwell here. Jump up? Or did they come through from this property, or they came around from the back?
They have only one entrance, two entrances. One is in the front of the building, and one is in the right side of the
I would
building.
imagine there's access from the inside of the building in some
Yes,
sort.
yes,
Yeah.
there's- They have a ramp over there.
Hard to tell here. Are there any other uses or structures on the back of the property? Anything
Not
else
that I'm
going
aware
on?
of.
And then this is sort of elevated, so you have to drive up to this location here to get some spaces in? Is that what happens?
Yes.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
I think this is landscaping in there.
I'm sorry, I missed that last sentence.
I think there's landscaping right in.
Yeah, in that retaining
Here.
wall area in between the parking and the retaining wall, correct, yeah.
So in terms of bulk requirements, what's the requirement for landscaping versus impervious?
I couldn't answer that question off the top of my head. I wish I knew the code that well, but I don't.
Okay. I'm thinking one thing that we might be able to achieve, it looks like once upon a time, they may have had a landscape strip in here.
The
That
only
got,
problem is that island is in the DOT right-of-way.
not true. Although they do, so are you going to have an access aisle running this way, or is your main entrance and exit
No,
around here?
we're going to leave the main entrance and exit. I think in discussions from, if I understood correctly from Sean, we're going to remove these 4 spaces, right? That are
Right.
kind of like, well, let's say 90% in the DOT right-of-way. We can easily relocate those to the asphalt parking lot, the upper back left-hand side. We may, if we have enough room for it, maybe we'll take the other 2 or 3 that are apparently halfway into the right-of-way and put them in the back as well. And then this will just be an access way for probably garbage trucks or whatnot to get to the refuse location and whatnot. We potentially could actually put some parking there too.
Some parking over here.
Yes, we could.
So what I'd like to see is some landscaping put in. So if we could figure out a way to maybe get some trees, shrubs, something, because this restaurant, you know, it has this little landscape island here. It has that little bunch of bushes in the side, maybe a little on the side here.
So can you,
Actually, okay, so the maximum development coverage is 65%.
You have that slope.
Talk about maximum.
You have that back area. I don't know if this is all natural back in here, because it looks like it goes far, but it looks further than what it, that's all uphill. There's no topo on here.
can you bring the aerial back up?
Yep. This?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah,
it
it's
looks
all
like you
natural, yeah.
own a chunk of land back in here, right?
Yeah, there's actually, we need to actually reflect the landscaping that's on the site. There's actually a fair amount. I'm not going to touch anything with the landscaping
Back.
that's in the right-of-way, if that's okay with the board. I mean, it's there and,
This.
yeah, I mean, it's not really landscaping, but
Well, they probably, I think they planted plants and, you know, although I understand
things.
winter, snow throw.
hey, can we take a look at the front of the building as well? I think there's mostly stairs there, but if there's any room, then, yeah, I
There's
think
a-
it's ramps and stairs.
There's one,
Maybe we can
bush,
maybe
couple
we can
bushes.
upgrade that area there a little bit to the left.
I mean, maybe you could add some more of a depth in here. Is this going to continue to be the main entrance?
Yes,
And then you have to keep this for your ADA compliance, right?
correct, yes.
Okay. You're not adding stories?
No.
Okay. And you're leaving this whole look, or do we have architectural review on this? So you'll just need to let us know what you're doing on the facade. Facades.
Is it greater parking requirement for medical offices? So I don't know, and I guess you'd have to look at the definition of medical offices and whether maybe a portion of it might meet that for the physical therapy type.
I reviewed that as well. I mean, I thought it would, I mean, if you look at the definition for office in the code, I believe it includes medical uses. I understand there's a difference in intensity, but if I'm not mistaken, one of the definitions said there needed to be a licensed professional. There's not going to be any licensed professionals in this building. So, I think I have it right here.
Offices used by persons having professional knowledge or skill in the diagnosis and/or treatment of human ailments, including medical, dental, chiropractic, diagnostic, and other similar facilities, laboratories.
I mean, we're not doing any doctor work here. We're not diagnosing, and we're not really treating. we're helping people rehabilitate potentially with the physical therapy, but there's no doctor's offices, there's no licensed professionals in this building.
So if they're
Taking
doing,
prescriptions from doctors for the PT?
Correct.
for PT, you have licensed therapists.
Gotta be.
That portion.
Yeah.
I
It
think
doesn't
it's-
have to all be medical, but maybe if
If-
there's a portion that is
the
medical,
parking, I
you
think
need to,
it's-
yeah, for the parking requirement.
Be a PT
It's one
these days,
space
you gotta
per
have a
100 square
PhD.
feet. Right?
I mean, I just didn't see physical therapy listed there. I saw medical, dental. I mean, I don't know if physical therapy falls under the medical. I guess it does.
I mean, it's the fact that you have patients and doctors there. Double the demand for the parking, you know?
You can let,
Yeah, we'll provide you with a floor plan and some elevation views, so we'll show all that on there when it gets to that point.
is
It
there,
would be the double parking for the entire thing, it would just be for whatever spaces.
Agreed, understood.
is there a little bit of shared access going on with this guy here? Or he pretty much uses his own property? And it looks like you have encroachments. Any issues with encroachments?
I was going to mention that, so there is that encroachment on the neighboring property, so you obviously won't be approving that. I don't know how long it's been there, but if that's something that
Planned on keeping there?
they keep,
I don't know. We have to take a closer look at that. I don't know that it serves any purpose for us as long as it's not retaining any. Oh,
Helping him?
yeah, I think it may be helping our neighbor actually more than it helps us.
Would he, if he knew that, would he be willing to just, can you get like a sort of consent that
Yeah.
it's okay to encroach, or do you need anything?
I don't think you would need anything. It would just be, you would be clear that you're not approving that because that's something that's pre-existing and it's there, and you wouldn't be able to approve it without a variance because it crosses over the lot line.
And then I'd like to see the dumpster screened.
We could add a note to the plan to that effect.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, say it again.
If we could get the dumpster screen,
We can try.
some kind of enclosure. So if this isn't truly a medical office, you don't have medical waste?
Correct.
Okay. And all the, like you said, all the openings are going to stay the same?
Yeah, I don't believe we have any intent to modify the layout or the size of the building. No, none of the entrances, nothing.
And do you know which side you were going to do the PT?
At this time, I think it's the back right-hand side.
Back right.
So if you're on 17M looking at the building, it would be the back right-hand side.
Over in here?
Correct.
Yeah, this has its own
Its own entrance. that's
stairs.
correct, yeah.
Again, just be aware, do you need ADA?
ADA, of course, yes.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll look at that. That was one of the comments on Sean's letter.
okay.
So Mike, you've been in the restaurant?
I was there when it used to be the Rainbow.
Yeah, so,
I remember that.
what you're talking about for the PT is when you kind of come in from the front entrance and it goes around to the right and then there's up some stairs, there's an upper area on the back right. Is that what we're?
I think
Thinking?
so, yes. That will be where they used to hold the parties and whatnot
Yes.
in the
Yes.
back.
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
East Islander.
Sorry, was that
It was East Islander.
East Islander? Oh, is that right?
It became,
I can't figure out what it was. It looks like it was added on to, a couple rooms, couple additions. It's definitely a hodgepodge of doors, for sure. So those are my comments. Jeff, you want to add anything?
No, not at this time.
Bob?
good.
Dylan?
Yeah, I just want to second your comment on landscaping, but also my slight displeasure on no option or no plans to make any visual changes, because I understand that might have been appropriate for the visual identity for the town 20, 30 years ago, but I don't think it is today. Completely up to you, but just slight recommendation to maybe do some paint or some roof line changes.
We do have architectural authority, so we can require an upgrade. But I think we want to get a sense from you.
Yes.
You probably want to, I'm sure you want to make some facade, paint, something, so let us know. You'll want a sign, so we need to show,
Correct.
are you going to keep the sign where it is, or do you want to put it out by the road? Just give us a little more detail.
We will.
And as far as, so you had mentioned site plan, public hearing. I don't know, it's been there forever. You may have the people in the back come out, but I think, let's see a little more.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily, thinking that it has to have a public hearing, but I think we want to see a little more.
Sure, understood.
Okay?
It is an unusual look. It's like reminiscent of something in the Midwest or stuff like that, or it's a weird shape. I mean, is there anything we can do to kind of even it out on the top? Maybe make it square or something, or?
We'll take a look at that. What's scary is for me to say is that that's actually an improvement over the way it used to look when it was the Rainbow, and that's not saying much. Although I would say the Rainbow was a pretty good restaurant. I did like eating there.
They were all good restaurants, and I didn't go to any of them. This may be a parapet that's hiding some mechanicals in the back. But I don't know that you need those mechanicals. Those may be like restaurant hoods, vents.
We might be able to take down the arches and kind of, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, square it up a little bit. It might be a better look. We could take a peek at some of that stuff.
Yeah, just to clean. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for your time tonight, everybody.
Thank you. And just add some topo so we see where the tree line starts and that hill starts.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, just to add it as a layer.
Okay, thanks again for your time tonight.
Sure. Is this individual, is he with you?
No, not that I'm aware of. No.
Okay. Are you here for anything, sir, or you're just listening in? Were you here for Seven Springs? I didn't hear. You're okay? Okay. All right. So I think that's it for our agenda, right? Other than minutes? For that, we will address minutes, and if you both want to head out, that's fine. Is there anything we need to know or anything you want to raise with us? And I did ask Noreen to look into vouchers. You're welcome. And I don't know if you have a lot outstanding, Ashley. Yes, okay.
I gave a pile today. You're getting one now, and I'll have more for you next week.
Okay. Good night. All right, so August 15th, we tabled that. August.
I don't know what's going on with August 15th. I have August 10th. I went back over the minutes more than once. I have August 10th approved twice and no August 15th, so I left it on there. I didn't have time to go back today to see if I could find the 15th. So I just left it there for now.
That one I couldn't find.
I couldn't find that we approved it, but then I had it noted that it was done, and I'm like... but
I have it
don't-
here, if this is it, August 15th.
Right, but I don't hear
And
us giving...
I already updated it. I think we just didn't vote on it, so it was
Which
myself.
means it might not have been revised. If it says draft, you probably,
No, we never adopted it.
yeah, but we did the 10th twice. I was very confused.
Well, so I think we did accidentally do one, but we didn't do this one. I had comments on it. And I think we have Dylan, Bob, myself, and Jeff, so we can approve this, right? Lou, you were present, but, so actually, you could vote if you were present because you were at the meeting, even though you were an alternate. So I think this was just mostly cleanup items. there was 130 foot and 135 here, so I wasn't sure which one it was.
I fixed it.
You fixed that?
Yeah, that's one of the ones I sent back revised last week. Week before.
I didn't get this one. You sent me October and November.
I just sent another one with you.
Day?
Either the end of last week or Monday of this week. August, and the last pile that you had sent me, I sent them back revised.
Oh, you sent me what we had already looked at.
Right, well, you wanted the revised ones back
Yes,
after,
yes.
so I sent those.
Yes.
And one of those was August 15th. I just didn't have it marked as voted on.
All right, so we didn't vote on it for sure.
Okay, good, because I thought I was losing it.
So, but this is my point about with the minutes. In the minutes, you need to say what we did with the minutes. Whether we tabled them or whether we approved them, right in the minutes. Because we can't track it if all it says is minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I changed, when I held it over, I put held over. And then if it's approved, you have a resolution.
So, let me just get through
No.
this. Let's just get through this. So again, these were special meeting. Okay, so this one you did do it. The November and October that I had didn't have that. So I was asking that you say whether it was held over, whether it was tabled. That was for the November and October, and I kept sending an email, and I wasn't getting responses. All right, so this was all the way with BJ's. Oh, you can't vote on BJ's, but you were here, so you can. So,
Does he have to be sitting to vote?
I think it's okay for now. It's just so, how do we do
Participated,
this?
and he didn't participate in the meeting, but he was at the meeting, so that's like going back and watching the video. Go back and watch the video.
Because I saw that he was present, so he can. In fact, someone who's not present, in theory, can vote on
Right,
it.
they can go back and watch
If they
the
actually
videos.
watched, et cetera. But here, I think we're safe. All right. So maybe it's just easier if you recuse for this. I don't know how to have you recuse for one set of minutes, but not for the rest of it.
I'm just going to abstain.
Okay, okay. So I make a motion that we approve the 8/15/23 minutes as amended. May I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
Hanson,
Aye?
Bob Gorzak,
Aye.
Dylan Penn,
Aye.
Jeff Manson.
Abstain?
Thank you.
My point is when I get the minutes back, like you did there for August 15th, it should say approved. It should have the motion, just like anything else.
It'll have the motion.
Motion and approved and abstain and everything. I just want to add something here, sorry. November 14th. Did I just say November? What date? 14th? Okay, I have that one. I revised it. So it's myself, Pat, Nick, Lou, Bob. One. We don't have enough. We don't have enough. Myself, Lou, Bob. That's 3. Oh, we're 5 now?
Oh, but we weren't then.
We're voting on it now, though.
I'm so confused.
I don't
I think we
that-
should wait. I think we should wait on this one. Let's ask Ashley. I'm not sure. It's crazy. Well, it's in part, that's why we need to get them sooner.
I'm going to still make the case that we're making the motion to approve in 2024 as a 5-person board.
I don't know. I would end up
We'll-
abstaining.
We'll double check with Ashley on
Yeah.
that, but
But,
I suspect that's the answer.
tabled, talk to. October 17th. That's the one that I asked you to resend with the minutes updated. I don't think I got that back, or November 9th. We never received November 21st, and we never received December 19th. Or I should say, I never received it so that I can update it so that the board can act on it. You never sent me the 21st or the 19th. What you did send me was October 17th and the 9th, and I was sending you various emails saying, could you please just put whatever we did with the minutes, and you weren't sending it back.
The 21st and 19th you should have.
I have October and the 9th, and you thought you had sent them to me. So unless you did it like in the last couple days, did you send it in the last couple days?
Yes.
As in today?
No. I sent it to the board tonight because I realized I hadn't sent them just the versions for them to see them.
Okay.
But you would have gotten it earlier.
So we really need to get them in 2 weeks.
I know.
So we have to table all of those. With that, I'd like to make a motion, we adjourn the meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions, any nays? Motion carries, meeting adjourned. Thank